how many of you all are going around in circles trying to figure something out when the answer to what you're looking for, literally, you've already created it and it's already in your face? Well, literally, that's the situation that I found myself in. And I was like, I cannot believe that I have been running around in circles literally for 2 years trying to relaunch something or trying to figure something out when I literally already had the formula.
Welcome to the Published and Paid podcast, where we share book, business, leadership, and life lessons in 20 minutes or less to help you build a thought leadership brand and business. My name is Jasmine Womack. I'm a former middle school language arts teacher turned 7-figure entrepreneur, and I am glad that you are here. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of the Published and Paid podcast. And in this episode, I'm going to go behind the scenes of the Published and Paid membership. I'm going to share with you some things that I've learned over the years about creating a membership, including how I got started, how a membership was one of the first offers that I created as an extension of my book. And I'm going to share why we decided to bring the Published and Paid membership back after 5 years and what it's like now. So I'm really excited about this. One of my first entrances into the online coaching space was through a membership program. At that time, it was a membership community called Grindation with Coach Kendall Ficklin. I don't believe he does it anymore, but it was a great community at the time. This was like back in 2016, 2017. And around that time, I was in the middle of publishing my book. It had not come out yet, but because of my day-to-day responsibilities, I knew that I needed to be in a community with like-minded people who were doing the same or similar things as I wanted to do. So like at that time, I was teaching middle school. I was coming home, taking care of my young children at the time, and I was staying up late to try to build the business. And I knew nothing at the time about marketing. I knew nothing much at the time about sales. I didn't know any of that. And so in addition to a lot of mindset work, it was a mostly male-dominated community. But at that time, I needed the rah-rah. I needed the in your face. I needed all of that, right? And this community provided that for me. And so that was my introduction to coaching. Prior to that, I'd been in school, and I had recently finished my specialist degree and wasn't quite ready to go after my doctorate, but I knew that I needed something more. I knew that I needed some, additional guidance and support. And at the time, the community was $49 a month. And I remember the coach being in my DMs on LinkedIn, and he was sharing it with me, and I just ignored him. I was like, I'm not paying for that. I had a very do-it-yourself mindset. And I was like, I'm not paying for that, right? I'm not paying for that. But he continued to follow up with me, and I learned more about it, and I decided to give it a go. I was not going to pay for it out of what I bought in through my check. That was just my frame of thought at the time. And so shortly, like at some point in time during our back and forth discussions, I did publish my book, and I just decided, you know what, I can cover this coaching investment with book sales. And so I said, if I sell X amount of books per month, 2 to 4 books per month, that will cover my investment for this. And that's what I did. So that way there wasn't any issue. It wasn't, it wasn't coming out of milk or formula or diapers or daycare or anything like that. And that was probably one of the best decisions that I ever made, because I had to show up, and I made lifelong connections and made lifelong friends that almost 10 years later, I'm still connected with now. I'm still friends with now, and even made connections back then of people who do business, who have come and do business with me now, even though they've seen my business grow so much over the years. And so after a certain point in time, I knew that I needed more hands-on than what just the community was going to provide. And so at that time, the coach started offering more access to him for higher prices. And then he started offering events and things like that. And so I started my first 4-figure investment into a 2-day event came from me being in the membership. He was doing a 2-day investment on building out a coaching business. Then it was a program on speaking and different things. And so I began to invest more and decided to do more coaching outside of the group community. And it was in our one-on-one coaching that I was like, listen, I need to find a way. Like, I really want to monetize my book. I want to figure out a way to break into coaching. And at that time, I just really didn't know how. He was the one that was like, you need to start a membership. Now, he had a membership. He had a great one. And I was like, well, how do I do that? And he was just like, I don't know, figure it out. Now, of course, he knew how because he did it. But at that point in time, he wasn't the type of coach that would provide the step by step. This is how you do it. That just wasn't his style. That wasn't his flavor. That was me. So, but he was literally like, go figure it out. He wasn't given no type of strategy at all. It was go figure it out. When I got too booked out with my editing clients at the time, because I was providing publishing services, he was just like, well, you need to hire other people to help you. I was like, well, how do I do that? He was like, go figure it out. So literally, he was more of an accountability coach than a strategy consultant, but he gave me the kick in the pants that I needed. And I did. I went and figured it out. I started studying membership models. I started reading books about memberships. I started looking at different memberships, and that's how I created my first membership. And at that time, it was called Pearls of Power, and it was a personal growth and development membership. Now, I knew that I wanted to get into a business development membership. I knew that at the time, I wanted to target more professional women. I didn't know how, and at the time, I didn't really know how to communicate messaging. So I started where I was. However, I made a mistake because I structured my membership after the membership model that this particular coach had, and it was too much for me, and it was too much for my lifestyle. Like, whereas his wife, took care of all the household, I was the wife. I was taking care of all the kids. And so, I was finding myself trying to do all these calls, trying to do all these one-on-ones, and I held down a 9-to-5 job. And so at the time, while I was trying to do what I saw him doing, in essence, because there was really no additional strategy, I adopted a model that didn't work for me in my lifestyle. And that was a major lesson for me very, very early on. Like, you can use something as inspiration, but you should not try to duplicate what someone else has the way that they have it, because at the end of the day, you only know what you see from the outside. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes in terms of capacity, in terms of requirements, and all of those things. That's another episode. That's a topic for another episode. And so I ended up with the Pearls of Power membership. And then as my coaching clients, in terms of my publishing company, started to grow, I actually shut down the Pearls of Power membership. And that's when I started the Published and Paid membership. And this was around 2018, 2019. And what I found was that I had all of these clients that had come to me to have their books written and publish their books, but they didn't know anything about marketing, monetization, or anything. And at the time, I didn't have a course. And so I was teaching a lot of those things in the membership. And by that time, I had learned that I needed to, restructure. But I also knew about the nature of memberships, because memberships can have a built-in churn, meaning that you're going to have people that are messaging in to cancel for whatever reason, this, that, and the other. And so I ran the Published and Paid membership. It was phenomenal. But around September of 2019, I felt the push to really focus in on my course that I had just launched that summer. And so that was the time I shut down the membership. It might have been bringing in around $2,000 per month recurring revenue. I shut down the membership. I shut down my publishing company, and I decided to go all in with courses in consulting. Now, it was a very, very scary transition for me. Anybody that's ever pivoted and you've built your business up doing one thing, now you're doing something else, you probably know. But it was a very scary transition, but I didn't know that a few months later, COVID-19 was going to hit and everybody was going to be in the house. And so I really felt like it was an unction from the Lord kind of preparing me for what was to come, because I can't imagine how I would have been had I been still offering publishing services and a membership at the time that the pandemic hit. But because I had pivoted to like fully coaching and providing courses like 6 months before, then when the quarantine happened and everyone was shut down in the house, my courses and coaching programs exploded. And even during that time, I missed having a membership. I was like, I really want to have a membership. I really liked and enjoyed the engagement. I liked seeing the light bulbs go off. I liked working with our clients to be able to help them to get from point A to point B. And so it had always been in the back of my mind to restart it. And I had talked and had run the idea by a few of our team members, over the years, like, man, I'm trying to figure out how to structure it in a way that works for me, in a way that's not overwhelming, all the things. So fast forward, at the top of 2024, I decided to relaunch it under the name Author Made Easy. Well, actually, we started trying to relaunch it in 2023, but I was trying to repurpose a former course that I had done and do more of a self-study version of it with a monthly Q&A. However, we launched it like 2 or 3 times, like literally had thousands of people sign up for these workshops, had hundreds of people actually show up and no conversions. And this happened like 2 or 3 times when we had back-to-back failed launches that had a ton of people in it. And so what I realized is that, people were coming in, people were actually showing up for the content every day, but nobody was buying the offer. So that let me know people did not want that offer. I didn't like the type of people that the launch was bringing in. So I was like, let's shut this down. We're not going to offer this because it's not converting. That was like around March, April, May of 2023. Fast forward 2024, the top of 2024, I attempted to launch my membership again. This time it was under the name Author Made Easy Foundations, because I had created a prerequisite course to help people to establish the foundations and the clarity that they would need, the clarity and the market research that they would need before they would go for it to write a thought leadership book. And this went well, I guess, the first time that I offered it, because I offered it as just like a flat fee for like 3 months. But then when I offered it as ongoing, support, training and whatnot, we did have some members that continued on with us. So I was like, okay. But even then, it was very, very low touch, like 1 monthly Q&A. But I knew that I wanted something more. I wanted something that had a little bit more interactivity, a little bit more involvement or whatnot. And so it had still been on my mind. And I'm like, Author Made Easy Foundations. The name wasn't hitting for me. The mission and purpose of it, I was murky. I wasn't properly communicating it. And the people that were in there, they were great, but the people that were in there were not necessarily coming to my events or trying to come into other programs. And one thing that I remembered from back when I had my first membership, Pearls of Power, is that you can have a front end or back end membership. So when you have a front end membership, it can be open to everyone, but really it should be a funnel to other products and services that you sell. Like, it's a low ticket barrier to entry from your book, but it should also funnel into higher ticketed opportunities, whether it's in-person events, whether it's coaching programs or whatnot, just the way that I was funneled when I got in a membership. And even when I started Pearls of Power, those ladies that were in Pearls of Power were the same ones who would come to my workshops. They were the same ones who would come to my events. They were the same ones who would come to and enroll in other courses that I would launch. And so I knew, just from my experience with memberships, the power and the focus of memberships and the part that it can really play in your business, and being able to provide your audience with a way to get affordable access to business growth, support, or whatever it is you focus on, but also a way to bring in recurring revenue and to have a warm audience who will want to continue doing business with you. Okay. And so I knew that I really had to find, I knew that I could feel that I was getting close, and I didn't want to give up on it. By this time, I had been trying to relaunch my membership, or a membership community, for about 2 to 3 years, right? But I couldn't figure out the right fit, from the name to the focus to the deliverables and all the things. And I continued to pray on it. I continued to fast on it. And so one day I was thinking, and I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I already own the trademark for published and paid. Why don't I just call it the published and paid membership? Duh. And I was like, oh my gosh, I literally still have the Facebook group that I had in 2019. I never shut it down. And I was like, it has been in my face the entire time. And here I was trying to make it, trying to change stuff when I already had it. How many of you all are going around in circles trying to figure something out when the answer to what you're looking for, literally, you've already created it and it's already in your face? Well, literally, that's the situation that I found myself in. And I was like, I cannot believe that I have been running around in circles literally for 2 years trying to relaunch something or trying to figure something out when I literally already had the formula. I already had it. I did it in 2019. And so that's when I decided to relaunch the published and paid membership. But I also knew that I needed to target, it needed to be strategically targeted and aligned so that my members could continue to be served, whether it was through live events, whether it was through other offers or whatnot, right? And so we launched it in 2020, in September of 2024, as the published and paid membership. And the first time we launched it, it went great. We ended up having I think it might have been a $40,000 launch, because it was essentially another offer that was new to the marketplace. I didn't really know how it was going to convert, but we ended up having a $40,000 launch, and it was a $42,000 launch. And I was great. I was good with that. I was happy with that, because I'm like, okay, this converted. And in the membership, we were focusing on 4 core elements: community, content creation, credibility, and client attraction. However, what I experienced during that time was what I call scope creep. And at the time, it was $99 per month, and people were coming in. A lot of people, at least half the people, paid in full for the year. But I had people coming in that were trying to pick my brain. They were asking me about how I facilitate my live events. Some people were trying to come and ask me about Facebook ads and acting irritated when I wasn't really answering questions about Facebook ads. Some people were asking questions about coaching program development. And that's when I realized that although my messaging was clear enough to convert, it wasn't clear enough to let people know this is what we do and don't do. Because those are topics that I teach in my mastermind. And it's unfair to my mastermind members for somebody to come to a membership and pay $99 and think that they can pick my brain to get all of my answers about higher level strategy. And so I even had someone who said that they were interested in my 8-week program, but they wanted curriculum development, resource creation. They wanted all these things, launches, funnels, all the things that we do in the mastermind, but didn't want to join the mastermind. So I'm saying this to share that when you create an offer, or when you create a membership, or when you create a container of any sort, you have to be extremely clear about what you teach in that container And you also have to make sure that you incorporate boundaries around what you talk about and the type of questions you answer. And when people start asking questions that are not aligned to what you actually teach in a membership or in a coaching program, you have to let them know, hey, we don't discuss that in here. I'd love to talk to you more about that. We teach that in this program. Let me know if you'd like to set up a call and I can share more with you about it. And it just is what it is, right? So I continued to work on it. By this time, we relaunched it again in December. We ended up having close to 20 people to enroll at that time. I don't believe that I ran ads. I don't remember if I ran ads or not. So literally between September and December, we enrolled around 60 people. So by this time, I'm like, okay, I know that this converts. I know that this is needed. But between December and January, I usually take a break and begin planning for the upcoming year. I'm like, you know what? I really, really need to hone in on the messaging. And one of the things that I do, I believe that done is better than perfect. And so I don't mind launching something and perfecting it over time because I believe that it's in the doing of it that you get the clarity. Like, I'm not going to get the clarity and the refinement that I want and need just by sitting back thinking about things in my head. I'm going to get the clarity and the know-how through actually doing the thing. And that's how you figure out, okay, this works, this doesn't work. This is the direction that this needs to go in. And I think a lot of people waste way too much time by trying to make things extremely perfect. And when you're going to end up having to make some adjustments and changes when you launch it anyway, right? And so I'm definitely hey, let's put it out there. Let's sell it. Let's work it. Let's improve it and let's refine it over time. I relaunched the membership knowing that I was playing the long game. I'm like, this isn't a short-term thing. My goal is to get anywhere from 500 to 1,000 members in the membership. And I'm playing the long game. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to host this membership for a minimum of 3 years. And so I came into it with that understanding and with that mindset to say, hey, how it is right now is not how it's going to look in 6 months. And it's not how it's going to look in a year because we're going to refine it. We're going to improve it. We're going to make it better. And so if you have a membership or have wanted to host or create your own membership, make sure that you're writing this down and take note of this. Even if you have a coaching program or want to create one, make sure that you write this down and really take note of this. And so by February, through fasting, through prayer, through clarity, through like doing research, through looking over the results of that our members were getting, because by this time our members were cranking out results. They were increasing their rates. They began, using our self-study curriculum. They were writing their books. They were publishing their books. They were experiencing 4-figure launches. They were, enrolling clients at higher prices. They were hosting their own events and workshops. They started creating content. And that's when the light bulb went off for me, because I'm like, the next time that we launch this, I don't want there to be scope creep. I don't want people to try to think that they can come pick my brain about specific things. I need people to know without a shadow of a doubt what it is that they're going to do when they come in. So here are a few lessons that I want you. Number one, you do not have to have it all together to launch a membership. You need an outline. You need a content plan. You need to know how you're going to facilitate that content. You need to know what price you're going to charge and what you're going to deliver and give for that price. You got to understand that there are low ticket memberships and high ticket memberships. Typically, higher ticketed memberships range anywhere from $300 to $500 per month or higher. And oftentimes they'll come with a lot more high touch, a lot more interaction, maybe even some real detailed step-by-step curriculum or whatnot, but It's either going to come with a lot of step-by-step curriculum, because I've seen some course creators that will take their high-ticket coaching programs. They decide to just repurpose it as a membership, and you get access to all the content, but you don't really get access to them like that outside of some type of asynchronous support, like a private podcast or something like that, right? Or you might have more exclusive memberships, but low ticketed memberships are typically going to come with a master class. It's going to come with a monthly Q&A. It's not going to come with a lot of hand holding, accountability, support, but it's going to be enough to get you what you need to get momentum, to maintain momentum, and to develop that focus, to develop that discipline, to develop that execution muscle that you need to have in order to take your business to another level. Because that was what I needed, right? When I first got into memberships. And even now I'm in memberships for various reasons. Lesson number 2, you can start small and make adjustments and refinements as needed. So like my very first membership that I had maybe had like 13 people in it. That doesn't seem like a lot for some people, but that for me, that was like maybe $100 something or $200 something on monthly recurring revenue. And I was able to grow that. And that paid for diapers, that paid for formula, that paid for things that I didn't have to pay for out of my pocket. And by the time that I transformed it to published and paid membership back in 2019, I was literally making half of my teaching salary in recurring revenue from a membership. And it was a membership that was highly engaging and that everybody loved being a part of. All right. Lesson number 3, be prepared for churn. Like you've got to include churn into your membership, and you have to create a way to address the churn and try to reduce it. So churn is a natural part of membership programs, and that's just people canceling. Okay. People are going to cancel. It has nothing to do with you. It's not a reflection of you personally. It's literally just the nature of the membership model, but you can prepare for at least a 15% churn. So your responsibility is to figure out what's causing the churn, how you can reduce the churn over time, but just go into it knowing that, when you bring people in, about 15% of those people that come in are eventually going to cancel within 3 months. Like it's just a natural part of it. Okay. And so fast forward to February 2025. By now, I just took you literally over 2 years from like February 2023 to February 2025. We're trying to figure this out where it clicked. And I'm like, the major thing, I know my audience, they are experts, they are leaders, they are executives. A lot of my clients have private practices, or they're attorneys, or they have some type of, service-based business where they are great with doing what they do, but they're not great at marketing it. They're not great at talking about it in the online space. Put them in front of a room, they can rock the mic off a stage, but put them in front of a camera like what I'm talking to right now, and they freeze up when going live or creating content. And I know that content creation is necessary when you want to grow your brand in the online space, and when you want to attract clients, and when you want to sell. So that's when it clicked. I'm like, this has been in front of my face. I've known this. I talk about this in my workshops. My clients are petrified of getting in front of the camera, and they are petrified of creating content. They think that Canva quotes is content. And so that's when I said, hey, the published and paid membership is going to focus on helping experts, leaders, executives, and business owners create high-level content that up-levels their credibility, that builds community, and that attracts clients. Because the truth of the matter is, you have to know how to create content. Like you can create a coaching program and all the things, but if you don't know how to create content that leans into that messaging and attracts people, you're not going to convert unless you're only doing some level of offline marketing. If you want to market and sell online, you have to create content. It is a foundational element. And so that's what we focus on. And that's honestly, when I go back to how we started it in 2019, that's what we focused on back then. was creating content to increase your visibility, creating content to sell more books, creating content to grow your brand, understanding how to show up online, how to speak online, how to host live streams and online events and all of the things so that you can attract people, attract the right people, and so that you can effectively sell. And so I said, that's it. And I was already doing it in the membership. The messaging just wasn't matching. Like the messaging on my sales page, it just wasn't hitting for me. I said, that's it. So God, I felt like the Spirit of the Lord woke me up early one morning, like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And all of it flowed to me. I literally rewrote the entire, page for the membership and all the things. And I was like, boom, this is it. Right. And so what we talk about, like in the membership, I have a quarterly approach and a month by month approach. So every quarter I have a theme, an overarching theme that I teach, and month by month I teach a class related to that theme, right? For example, quarter 1 of 2025 was all about refining your messaging to attract creme de la creme clients. Your creme de la creme clients, those are your clients. Those are like your top tier clients, the clients that you want everybody else to be like. In order to bring them into your offers, you got to know how to speak to them. So we did some deep diving into market research. We did some deep diving into messaging, and we're doing deep diving into actually understanding how to promote your offer through the content that you create. And so we have the quarterly approach, the monthly approach, and then we have week by week focuses in the published and paid membership. And so week 1, I host a 30-minute masterclass. Now I used to have them longer, but what I realized that 30 minutes is more than enough if you want to actually take it and not just listen to it, but actually learn it and work it. A lot of people are content hoarders and they just hoard a ton of content and they never do anything with it. If you have a focus for 1 month where you are focused in on learning that thing and implementing that thing, like you will see your book and your business literally skyrocket before your eyes, because now you're not all over the place. You have focus. So we have a monthly masterclass along with a resource and templates to accompany that masterclass. The masterclass is typically streamed into our Facebook group. The membership community is on Facebook. And that's just because I know that if I was to put it on a different platform, that would just be another app that people would have to go to. And it would just decrease the visibility. People are already on Facebook, so I just use it for right now anyway. So we stream it into the Facebook group and we put it into the learning portal. Week 2, at the time of this recording, we do a virtual co-working power hour, which is where you come on in a group setting and you have a virtual co-working session where now you're actually working through the resources and the templates that you received in conjunction with the masterclass in week 1. Week 3 is what we call our implementation sprint week. So every class that I teach also comes with action items that you're going to do by the end of the month. And week 3 is our implementation week where you actually do those action items and then you share them in the group and everyone has an opportunity to support one another. And then week 4, we do our monthly Q&A. I facilitate those. We do our monthly Q&A along with our book of the month discussion. So we do have a published and paid book of the month club where we read a book throughout the month. Myself, along with the team, we come and share quotables. We come and share takeaways. We ask questions. We come in and provide implementation exercises, like how you can actually implement the readings from the book in with your business. And so around week 4, in conjunction with our monthly Q&A, we also do a book of the month discussion as well to wrap up that month's book reading before we prepare for the next one. Because the truth of the matter is that leaders are readers, and reading is another way to expand your mindset. It's another way to learn and digest information and just really up-level your language, up-level your communication, up-level your skill sets, your knowledge bank, and everything. So the published and paid membership also comes with self-study curriculum. So in addition to our trainings, our monthly trainings, it also comes with self-study curriculum, including the published and paid ebook that also includes over $500 worth of corresponding resources. We have had so many published and paid membership members to use my published and paid book along with those resources to write and publish their own books. And it's been phenomenal. You also get access to the 6-figure book system ebook and those related resources as well that help you to write a nonfiction book that adds 6 figures to your bank account and build your personal brand. So that in conjunction with the published and paid, like it's a no-brainer on how to write your book and have your first 4-figure launch. Then I include the transitioning from employee to entrepreneur curriculum, because a lot of people want to know, how do I do it? How do I prepare? If I want to become a full-time entrepreneur, what do I need to know to prepare for this? And so we include training such as 3 roads to revenue, the pathway to making 10K in 90 days, 3 secrets to a 4-figure launch, how to create your 9-to-5 exit plan, and those things that you really need to start considering and thinking about if you eventually want to exit. And even if you just want to supremely supplement your 9-to-5 revenue, then you know how to do that. It also comes with the $1 Million Expert Curriculum, which is all about money mindset. Because let me tell you something, you can have all the strategies that you want. You can have all the strategies, but if you don't have the mindset, the courage to go after it and to implement it, it's not going to matter. So you get access to the $1 Million Expert Curriculum and the Marketing Basics and Money Growth course. This is where we deep dive into marketing and sales basics that every author, that every speaker, that every coach, consultant, entrepreneur needs to know when you begin to market and sell your products. Okay. And so it's a phenomenal membership. My goal with creating the membership was to create a level of curriculum, coaching, and support to where even the busiest person could work on their business for 30 minutes per day and see results and see growth and be able to even track their own growth. Right. And so it's just like really, really become phenomenal. It's a phenomenal program. And yeah, the published and paid membership is a phenomenal program. And it's a great way to get started because we don't limit it. It's open to the public. And it's just a great way to get started. So say you've been listening to me, you've been listening to the podcast. You're like, I want to work with her, but I'm not quite ready for the mastermind yet. Or I want to work with her, but I want to see what it's like. I want to see how she teaches. I want to see how she shows up. Do you get firsthand experience of that through our monthly sessions, whether it's the monthly masterclass, the Q&As or whatnot, as well as the curriculum that you have access to once you come into the membership. So if you're interested in joining, we're putting the link in the show notes. And if you're listening, you can also go to www.jasminewomack.com/membership. The link is also down below in the show notes. You can go to that page. You can get all of the information there. And you can enroll right from the page, and we'll be sure to put a button on the page too if you want to DM me or contact my team. If you have some additional questions, you can do that as well. I do believe in a future episode, I'll bring some people on that are currently members in the membership, as well as some members from our team to just talk more about their experience with helping to plan and facilitate the membership, as well as some of our members, so that you can hear firsthand how the membership has helped them. But again, if you'd like to learn more and even become a part of the membership, then the link is in the show notes. And you can also go to www.jasminewomack.com/membership. And we look forward to seeing you on the inside. All right. Until next time, peace, love, and impact.